Welcome back, everyone. I'm Stephen Harrell, Tiny House Listings, and I am in beautiful Sea Level, North Carolina. Here spending a couple days just unwinding and relaxing for Labor Day weekend. And this area is called Sea Level because it is actually sea level. It's one of small cities. It encompasses an entire area called Down East, and it's on the extreme coastal edge of North Carolina. Beautiful area. It's actually not too far from a small city that I grew up in called New Bern, North Carolina. As you can imagine, this being a very coastal area, there is an abundance of sea life here. Actually, the people who live here, who are locals, live and die by the sea. They make their living, whether it's boat repair, boat building, oysters, anything sea life, shrimping, a deckhand. There's a lot of people here who for many generations have lived here and just made their living by the sea, and they're super closely tied to the sea. A lot of these folks who go to church here, you'll see them in their white oyster boots going to church, and they even have their own dialect down here. They call them hoit-hoiters. That's the way they talk. But just to give you an example, here's a toilet paper holder that this cottage came with, and it is a Captain with a pelican on top. Sorry, I had to readjust the camera there. But what was on my mind and what I've been thinking about the last few days while I was here is using. A lot of people think of a tiny house as a house, right? And of course that's what it is, but I see it as a tool. I see it as a financial tool. Using a tiny house to get you from where you are to where you want to go. And what I mean by that is let's just use, we can throw out a couple examples. Let's say if you're planning to retire, but you notice that you're at a certain age and you don't think you're going to be able to make it. A tiny house could be a tool for that. If you are a single mother who's recently become divorced, you could use a tiny house as a tool for that. If you are starting your adulthood out and you want to remain debt-free, you could use a tiny house as a tool for that. And when I say a tool, I mean a financial tool. A tiny house, when you cut your expenses down in an extreme way, and a house is your biggest expense. It's going to be your biggest expense. On average, it's about 40% of your total take-home pay, a household and household-related expenses. If you can trim that down to 10% or less, or whatever the percentage happens to be, and save the rest or do whatever it is that gets you from where you are to where you want to go, you can speed up that process a lot. And owning a tiny house that on average maintains its value over the years, and in some cases even goes up, is a really, really good idea. You can buy it at a certain price, save lots of money, stock it away for however many years. You can do the math, figure out what that looks like for you. And then from there, sell it. Sell it when you're done with it, or use it as a tool for Airbnb or whatever it is. But I see using a tiny house as a tool as one of the biggest financial hacks that you could probably do, because you're slashing your largest expense. And if you look at housing in terms of owning a house for 30 years, or paying for a house for 30 years, or being a tenant for your life, or for an extreme amount of time, it's hard to get out of your current situation. If you can't come from that situation, it's a great way to get yourself ahead, is to have very few household related expenses. And truth be told, when you move into a tiny house and you live in a tiny house, all of the other expenses that you tend to have, you re-examine those as well, whether it's a big car payment or bringing on expenses that you otherwise wouldn't bring on. For example, furniture. If you live in a tiny house, you're not going to sit there and buy thousands of dollars worth of furniture. On and on and on. I could give you more examples. But it helps you re-examine your life and the way that you spend money, the way you look at money, the way you save money, the way you use money. And whether you want to admit it or not, living in the 21st century, in 2020, money is a daily part of your life. And that's not going away anytime soon. So if you can figure out a way to sock money away and use a tiny house as a tool, that's a fantastic way to get yourself ahead, and your family if you have one, financially. That's it. That's really what I wanted to share with you, is using a tiny house as a financial tool. And maybe you're not going to live in a tiny house for the long haul. Maybe you plan to. Everyone watching this video is at different phases and different points of their life, has different financial means. Some have nothing. Some have saved something and just want to continue that. Whatever happens to be, I personally see owning and living in a tiny house, again, probably the third time I've said it, but it's true, as one of the greatest financial ways you can get yourself ahead. for so many reasons. The tiny house lifestyle and everything surrounding it is a fantastic way to swing the, I guess you could say, financial pendulum in your favor. So that's all I wanted to share with you. If you need a tiny house, email us at support@tinyhouselistings.com. And if you have comments, leave them down in the comments below. If you find this video helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up, and of course like this channel, subscribe to this channel, and hit the notifications bell so every time we do a video you can check it out and get alerted. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.